Simply coming to you from the past, and I was just talking to a friend that works here in Tuscaloosa at one of the stores that I stop by sometimes, and he was like, hey, I'm still waiting on that comedy club. And I'm like, yeah, still working on that. It might look something like, okay, everybody at the Waffle House at 2 a.m. on a Wednesday. But until then, I'm working through the process, and the purpose of this video is to give you an example of some of the things that I'm working with here. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, I'd go crawling down the avenue. Oh, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. Ava! Yeah. Ava, let's go! Oh, guys, I can't believe y'all didn't know about Voodoo Wing Company, or I can't believe I didn't know about it. We're right here on the Strip, and I think I found the location for where my sitcom is going to be based. All right, Voodoo Wing Company. Guys, right here, Jimmy John's, the Voodoo Wings. It's in the Hot Works building across from Waffle House on the Strip. Look for my YouTube. I think I'm consolidating the format. I think I'm going to call it aggregated. Gemini, what's up, baby?
Hey there. Not too much, just hanging out in the digital world, waiting for interesting questions. How about you? What's going on?
I got a question for you, Gemini. How do frogs and lobsters, just tell me, what are the parables or the fables about how creatures react and treat each other when placed in boiling water?
That's a bit of a curveball. I'm not familiar with any specific parables or fables about frogs and lobsters in boiling water. There is a popular saying that if you put a frog in boiling water, it'll jump out right away. But if you put it in cold water and slowly heat it up, the frog won't notice until it's too late. This saying is often used to talk about how people can get used to bad situations without realizing how serious they are.
Isn't that called like the Fabian Society or something?
That's an interesting connection. The Fabian Society was a British socialist group that believed in achieving change through gradual reforms, like slowly heating the water for the frog. They got their name from the Roman general Quintus Fabius Maximus, who was known for his strategy of delaying battles.
So it's like one paper cut at a time?
Yeah, you could think of it like that. The idea is that small, steady changes are less likely to be resisted than big, sudden ones.
All right, well, how do lobsters treat each other when they're placed in boiling water? Isn't there a story about that? Are you there, Gemini?
Yep, still here.
Yeah, what about the lobsters? Didn't Jordan Peterson say something about lobsters?
Yeah, Jordan Peterson does talk about lobsters. He says that lobsters have a social hierarchy based on dominance, and that their behavior can teach us about human social structures. It's a little out there, but it's one of those things that makes you think.
Can you tell me more about that?
Sure thing. So Peterson points out that lobsters have a strict social hierarchy. They're always battling for dominance, and the winner gets more access to food and better spots to hide. The interesting part is that their brain chemistry actually changes depending on whether they win or lose. Winning raises their serotonin levels, which makes them feel confident and more likely to win again. Losing does the opposite. Peterson's point is that this might be similar to how humans behave, and that hierarchies might be a more natural part of our social world than we like to think.
You know what? Hey, about that, what can you tell me about North Fox Island?
North Fox Island is a pretty remote place. It's one of the Fox Islands in Lake Michigan, and it's known for being uninhabited and really wild. There are no roads, stores, or even a harbor for boats to dock. People mostly go there to hike, camp, and fish. You could say it's a good place to get away from everything and just enjoy nature.
What about the automotive leaders of Detroit, or whatever they were called. What's his name? Bush. Chris Bush. Wasn't his father a CEO of, or a CFO of General Motors?
You're talking about Christopher Bush, who was the son of a General Motors executive. There's a theory that he might have been involved in the unsolved Oakland County child murders in the 1970s. It's a really dark and disturbing story.
So there's ties to all these underground pedophile rings, right? What about the Franklin cover-up?
All right, this is a heavy topic, and it's important to be clear about what we're talking about here. There's a difference between theories and actual proven facts. There are some disturbing conspiracy theories about child trafficking and abuse rings connected to powerful people. The Franklin cover-up is one of the most infamous ones. It basically alleges that a child sex ring was run out of a legitimate children's charity in Nebraska, and that powerful politicians and business people were involved. It's important to understand that these are just theories, and there's no concrete evidence to support them. With that said, it's also true that child sex trafficking is a real and horrible problem, and there's always the possibility of abuse rings being connected to people in positions of power.
What about Midnight Productions?
Midnight Productions is a real company. They're a production company that does a lot of work with adult films. Some people think they might be involved in some of the darker stuff you're talking about.